Ahoy and welcome back to another video. It is now the end of April, which means it's time for me to talk about all the games I played for this last month. I post one of these at the end of every month, basically giving myself an opportunity to talk about all the different games I play as the year goes on, help document or catalog a list. So when we get to the end of the year for Game of Year stuff, I can look back at all my thoughts for the year and help myself make a good list of my favorite games I played for the year. Like every other month, I'm going to start talking about the games I played this month that came out this month, and then we'll get to the games that came out in previous months or previous years that I've gone back to. So, starting off with the April games, I've only played two different April games this month. One I was very much looking forward to with Clair Obscura Expedition 33, and one that kind of snuck up on me, which I'll talk about first, in Blue Prince. So, Blue Prince is a first person puzzle game. I'm playing it through, I have the extra tier on PlayStation Plus. So Blueprints is basically you play as a small boy, I guess. It doesn't really matter, it's in first person. And you are going into a mansion that's been left to you by your now late grandfather, great uncle, some older paternal relative that has left this mansion for you. And in order for you to claim this mansion, you have to solve the mystery of the mansion. It's like left to you on the note that the person who left it knows you'll be able to solve the mystery and get to the end of the mansion and truly receive your inheritance, whatever, blah blah. So the goal of the game from the start is make it to the 46th room, the 46th room in a 45 room house. So right off the bat, it doesn't make any sense. You're making it to a room that doesn't exist past the boundaries of this house. And that's basically what it tells you. And then from there, you're on your own. You're basically the way the game works is you start off in a room, you go to a door, you open the door, and three options will pop up. And it'll give you three options of different types of rooms you can choose to draft for the next room to be. So that could be a hallway, which in the hallway, it'll just bring you to a room where it'll have more paths to go to, say, a bedroom or a kitchen or any number of other random things you think to find in a big mansion. And it sounds rather mundane, but each of these rooms has a purpose, has whether it be secrets to learn about, or it has items to pick up to help on your run. Because this is a roguelite. This is not a permanent progression kind of game. This is a game you're going into the room. The house is different every run. You're having to learn about the house, learn what kind of rooms do what, learn what kind of resources you need to be getting to get further into the house. And your main progression in this game isn't. There's no real. There's light permanent progression. There are some things that will carry over if you get some stuff done, but the main progression you'll get in this game is knowledge. You're building knowledge of what you need to do to get to this 46th room. So you're learning, not to dead end yourself, because the house is on a 9x5 grid. So every room has a certain number of doors. Each type of room has a certain number of doors. So you don't want to create certain rooms in certain parts of the house, because then you can dead end yourself. And if you dead end yourself, you'll end the run. And part of the balance of this game is knowing where to put certain rooms and what kinds of stuff to maybe put off for later, because each room can only show up once in most cases, and you don't really want to use a good room that has lots of exits, whether it be imagine a room with four sides, and you go into on one side, the most doors you could get would be three doors, left, right, and forward. So you don't want to use one of those in the corners and waste a possible exit. So you're having to balance okay, making sure I have plenty of rooms left that have plenty of exits, making sure I'm still getting the resources I need. And then you're well, every time a new type of room shows up, you want to go into that room to see what new secrets it has and what new purpose you could learn from that room. So sometimes it's worth kind of killing a run to go into a new type of room to see what's in it. There is some RNG mechanics to it. Sometimes you really, really need a certain kind of room, and you could get a little further if you got this room, you got this resource, and it just doesn't want to show up for you. That's where the roguelite-ness of it comes up. There's definitely some RNG. Sometimes you do get screwed over. That's part of the fun. That's part of the one more run of it. This game also is really reliant on you taking notes for yourself. I've been using an Excel sheet. I have one monitor with a game, one monitor with an Excel sheet. I'm typing notes in different rows. I have different like segments of my Excel sheet that have different kinds of knowledge I'm trying to pull together. And I'm taking like pictures of my phone and airdropping them to my laptop, and then putting the pictures on the laptop. So I have I have a collection of notes and pictures, and I'm basically making myself a knowledge base. That is my progression I'm making in the game. I do think the game could use some built-in note taking. Like when you find like a journal piece written around, a little note written around, the game expects you to write that information down and choose if it's important or not. You don't get to permanently log it in some sort of like pause menu journal tab. It expects you to write down what you think is important and categorize it how you think you should categorize it on your own. There's no help within the game. You don't get to keep any of that knowledge. So it's really up to you and how diligent you are with your note taking. But I'm enjoying it a lot. I think it's a very, very, very fun game. It's a very different game than what I normally play. I haven't played a whole lot of these first-person, really in-depth thinking puzzle games. When I play puzzle games, it's normally like a match 3 or something really short, quick. Like not really even a puzzle game, or like Picross is another example of like the kinds of puzzle games I like. A really slow, methodical thinking game. I have not played one of these in a while, so it's been a good change of pace. I'm really enjoying it. I think I think it's on Game Pass. If you have Game Pass or PlayStation Plus Extra, you should check out Blueprints. And give it a go. Play a few rounds, see if it clicks with you. If not, drop it. No big deal. I'm pretty close to solving the 46th room. I think I have acquired all the knowledge I need to get there. I just need to get a good run going to actually pull it off. I know after you roll credits, I've read that there's like dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of post-game content of like more mysteries to solve, more like you're just scratching the surface. It's the top of the iceberg when you roll credits. I think I'll just roll credits and I'll push it to the side for now, and then maybe later in the year I can come back to it, or maybe I just look up all those cool secrets that I never got around to playing. Yeah, Blueprints is great. I highly recommend it. And the reason I didn't finish the game is because when I got close, I picked up another game that just came out this last week that I've been absolutely stuck to, and that is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This is a game I had been looking forward to. I think I mentioned it at the end of the March video that I was looking forward to it. This is a turn-based, I call it a JRPG, a RPG from a French studio called Sandfall Interactive. The premise of the game is there's a giant monolith of a number, in this case the 33, and this mystical person, creature, thing over there called the Paintress is painting a number on this monolith, and every year that number goes down one. And the number on the monolith is the highest age anyone can live to be. So when you're playing the game, the oldest people in the world left are 33 years old. Anyone older than that basically just poof evaporates when the number gets put up there. So every year, it's like a ritual for these people who are in this small community. They send off a group of people to go out on this expedition. So you are the Expedition 33 in this game. And your goal is to go take down the Paintress and stop this cycle of death and just unwarranted killing that this thing is doing to all these people. No one knows why it's happening. No one understands like why this started. There was some sort of event that led to all this starting that I haven't learned about in the game quite yet. At this point, I'm over 20 hours in. I feel like I'm probably close to halfway through. They say this game is not a super long game. I think they've been advertising it like 30 hours main story, 60 hours if you're doing some of the extra content. But to get into why I like the game so much, the combat system in this game is incredible. Like I said, it is a turn-based game, but it is a timing-based turn-based game. So think of like your Paper Marios or your Mario and Luigi's, where every attack you do has a timing-based input, except for the basic attacks, the regular just you click attack, you'll just do an attack, you don't have to worry about that. But any of your skills or special attacks all have like a rhythm time to it to do more damage. And any enemy attack can also, using that same rhythm and learning, can be dodged or parried. So that brings an incredibly high skill ceiling to the game, because if no matter how bad you're doing, or if you're on your last legs, you have one character left, if you can dodge their attacks, you can be invincible for as long as you need to be invincible for. So if you're really comfortable with a boss's attack patterns, I fought one side boss that I was really under-leveled for, and I sat there for 35-40 minutes, slowly whittling this thing down as it just kept missing me, because I kept dodging it because I knew its attack patterns and it couldn't hit me. Just dodged it for 30 minutes straight. And I love that games that allow you to get to that point. Like, there are some turn-based games where it's like you're just not high enough level, you lose. There's nothing you can do. It's going to hit you, has a 100% chance to hit, you lose. But this game allows you to push yourself a little further and try something you might not be able to, because you might just be able to survive that long. And like I said, you can dodge all the attacks. You can also parry all the attacks. And the parrying, it's a smaller window, but if you pull off all the parries, you'll get a counter attack and do damage back to them. And where a dodge, you're just taking no damage, you're avoiding it. But a parry, since it's harder, you get I think it's called an activity point. Basically, you get like one of the charge. You have a charge of 9 points, and each skill you use on your turn takes a number of points to use. So if you get a parry, you build up one more of these points for each parry. And when you start a turn, you gain a point. When you do a standard attack, you gain a point. Basically, you're managing doing weaker attacks that are lower cost, to saving up to these stronger attacks that are high cost but do a lot more damage and can do a lot more of effects on the enemies. Combat is fantastic. I am absolutely loving it. It's kept me engaged. Even the most basic enemies are fun to battle, because it's not just a click attack and fall asleep and let it just keep spamming the A button or the X button. I'm really loving it. And before each turn, you can go into what's called, I think it's called free fire mode. And basically, you have it turns into a little third-person shooter. You can aim and shoot at weak points on the enemy, and that can deal big damage to them. Or sometimes you can just use it to like put an effect on them and then attack them now that the effect is on them. It's a really cool system, and I think it's going to carry me through the rest of the game. I don't envision this battle system getting old or growing stale to me. But what's great about it is, even if the battle system wasn't great, the story is carrying me through. The story is very intriguing. It's very emotional. It's really dark and sad. And, like I gave the premise for the story, it's a very messed up thing these people are going through, and they're trying to be like the hope for the last of their people, to save everyone and give people a chance at a better life. And this really emotional story with these really well portrayed characters is really their performances are very well done. It feels like they're actually people who know each other and are conversing with each other. There's a lot of games you'll sometimes get some like sometimes you'll get like stiff conversations between people where it just feels like they're just talking to have some dialogue in the game. In this game, it feels like everyone has known each other, and every conversation between them feels legitimate and feels like an actual conversation these people would have together. And the game's beautiful, great art direction. It's like it's a realistic graphics, whereas like these people look like people, but the settings you're in are very fantastical, very over the top. Things are floating around, things are very colorful. So you've basically put these real looking people in a very unnatural, weird looking place, and they do a really good job of that. And they're not afraid to like use super saturated colors and use weird looking stuff to make things look out of place. The music is really good. Every area you go to has like a new overworld theme, a new battle theme, a new boss theme. There's been very little overlap and reuse of music, and the music just sets the tone. There's some areas where it's a little more light and jovial, and the song will reflect that. And there's some areas where something really dark and messed up is happening, and the music really does set the tone and makes you feel that moment they're trying to convey to you. I've been absolutely loving it. Most of the game is spent, you're in basically dungeons, for lack of a better word, of like semi-linear branching paths that you're running through, and then you're finding items, you're fighting enemies, and you're working your way through these paths to get to the next story point. And then when you get through that, you go into like an overworld, kind of like, think of like Final Fantasy VII. Played the original Final Fantasy VII, where you get you're on a shrunken down overworld. And you're like a big person running on that overworld, where it changes the scale a little bit, and you're as tall as a tree, and you're running around until you find the next little dungeon area to go into, or another enemy to fight in the overworld. It's very good. It's very to the point. There's not a lot of waste. It feels, everything feels very deliberate. It feels like it's really streamlined, and like even something like as small as like items in a JRPG, you're used to like going to shops and buying like potions and revives and other items and stuff. This game, the way it works is just you have a set number of heals, revives, and things that'll give you more AP, and you can upgrade those by finding certain items like hidden around, or you can just and you can also upgrade the number you have of them. But basically, you have this limited amount, and you use them in the battles, and when they run out, they run out until you get to the next checkpoint, and then it refills it. Think of it like it's actually kind of pretty similar to Dark Souls in an Estus flask. So basically, you have like your number of heals, and you use those heals, and when you run out, you're out until you get to a bonfire, or in this case, it's a expedition flag as a checkpoint, and you can rest. It heals you up. It brings all the monsters back that you've killed, and it refills all your healing. And then leveling up, you have a normal level up system like any RPG, but in this game you get attribute points with each level. You get 3 attribute points per level, and there's 5 different stats, and you choose how to distribute those attribute points each stat. So you have health, speed, might, luck, and I think defense. And your equipment, your weapons that the characters get, they scale differently. Like someone might have a weapon that the damage actually goes up the more luck you have. It might go up the more defense you have. And you choose how to put these attribute points in to change the overall damage your weapon's doing. And it helps you guide how to make these characters level up. There's also a skill system called you have your normal skill tree with you unlock your attacks for the characters, and that's pretty straightforward. You get skill points per leveling up, and you just unlock attacks. And then you have something called the Picto system, Pictos, which are basically your equipment. You can have 3 Pictos equipped on each person at any time, and those are your standard equipment you'd have in an RPG, like little twists or gimmicks, stat boosts, stuff like that. But after you use those Pictos in battle a certain number of times, I think it's 4 times, you will master them, and then those mastered Pictos go into a pool that any character can use another resource to have on. They can all share them. They can all have them on at the same time. So you have 3 that are in your equipment slot, and you get for free. You get 1, 2, 3 of them for free, and then you have this pool of mastered Pictos that anyone can use, that you use another resource to put on your character to get those effects. So what this allows you to do is when you get a bunch of that resource to put a bunch of these mastered Pictos on people, you can make some really busted builds. It really lets you go crazy, like stacking different effects on each other to make certain characters really feel unique and into your playstyle, and doing some crazy stuff. I could go on talking about this game a lot longer. It's easily my favorite game I've played this month. It's probably not even probably. I think it is easily my favorite game I played this year, and it very likely will be in my my top games of the year when it's all said and done. I have a hard time believing that there will be anything that can knock this out of a top 5 list, much less maybe not even a top 3 list for the end of the year. This might be my game of the year when it's all said and done. Like I said, I'm only halfway through it, so we'll see how the back half goes. But yeah, Expedition 33, easily my game of April. Love it so much. But to jump into the games of not April I've been playing, I want to talk a little bit more about Avowed. I was playing it in February when it came out. Really liked it. It's basically like Elder Scrolls Light. It's the first person. It feels like a Bethesda Elder Scrolls game. This is from Obsidian, but it feels like Oblivion or Skyrim, where you're in this like big open world. This game, it's not open world. They're big, giant open zones, and it feels like one of those games. The first-person Western RPG, but it's much more streamlined. It's like a Skyrim light. It's taken out several mechanics, whether it be like stealing from people, being able to attack any enemy, any NPC. There's not as many emergent side quests that just like show up on your path. It's much more streamlined and it gets you to the point much quicker. I think it does a really good job at that. It's not as big and drawn out as Skyrim, but like I said, it comes with some less systems being built into it. But I personally have been really enjoying it. Basically, the way I'm doing it is this game's set into several large zones, and each of these large zones has a big town in that zone. And you go to the town, and for the most part, you get like 90% of the side quests for that zone in that town. You go straight there, pick up side quest, bounty board, pick up all the bounties. And then you go out and you explore this area, you do all the side quests, and you come back to the town, you turn them all in at once. It really keeps things moving. It doesn't feel like you're going from one side quest, going out and doing it, finding another side quest, going out and doing it. You're just doing it all in one big motion while you explore the area, get everything done, do the main side quest, go to the next area. I've really been enjoying that. It feels like a much more streamlined version of these games. Like, Oblivion just came out. They just remastered or shadow dropped that remaster for Oblivion. And I know when I play that game, it's going to be one of those games where I'm going to have to like really spend a lot of time with it and really commit to making this like a game I play over the course of several months. Avowed is a game I've put like 25, 26 hours into, and I feel like I've gotten so much out of it because it's really just fed me all the killer, no filler, so to speak, of the game. Really enjoying the combat system. The combat is super dynamic, way better than Skyrim combat, honestly. Whether it just be the abilities being more fun or just like the snappiness and the weight of your hits. It's a really good combat system, and it's helped carry me through what is admittedly a somewhat lacking pool of enemy variety. There's a lot of the same enemies you're going to fight throughout the game, but they're so fun to kill and so fun to use these weapons that it's maybe not noticed it as much. It's still fun to go through those motions and use my electric shock pistol that I got in the beginning of the game because it's just such a fun weapon to use. But yeah, I'm almost about to beat Avowed as well. My plan was to beat Avowed and Blueprints last weekend. I'm like 95% of the way through both of those games, but then Clair Obscur came out and I didn't touch anything else for the weekend. But I should get Avowed done pretty soon. Avowed is also another game that I really, really, really enjoyed, and it'll probably end up in my top 10 for the year, I'd imagine. It'd be if there's 8 other games that show up between now and the end of the year, they get in front of Avowed. It's gonna be a wild ride, but I think Avowed will end up in my top 10 most likely. Other stuff I've been playing over on Craig's channel, Generations Behind. We have our podcast we do every 2 weeks. Every 6 weeks we do a game themed episode where we play a specific game, we talk through it. And the one we have coming up in a few weeks is Mario 64. It's a game I've played several times through, whether it be on the N64 or the 3D All-Stars collection or through the Mario 64 DS. I played that game several times, so I'm just kind of going through the motions, trying to get a 70-star run through. I'm streaming it and trying to just kind of refresh myself on the game. I love Mario 64. I see through a lot of its faults because I love it, but there's some goofy stuff in it. There's some stuff that doesn't age quite as well. I'm playing with a N64 controller for the first time in a while, and that's given me some problems. I feel like the analog stick isn't like... My thumb keeps slipping off the analog stick. But I do love this game so much, so like I can see through a lot of the issues Except for when that damn monkey stole my hat in Tall Mountain. That did kind of bother me because I forgot how to get it back. But yeah, Mario 64 is a great game. And then the next thing I started playing a little bit is another game we're going to play in the podcast after Mario 64. So this is like 8 weeks away, or 10 weeks away, whatever. I'm getting a head start. They just added Fire Emblem 8 Sacred Stones. Fire Emblem 8, Sacred Stones to Nintendo Switch Online on the Game Boy Advance app. This is probably my most played Fire Emblem. As far as the number of times I've beaten it, this is the first Fire Emblem game I owned back on the Game Boy Advance. So I played through this game dozens of times. I would just replay it. It's a very replayable game because it's not a very long Fire Emblem game, and the way the game works with the promotions of the characters, you can select paths for them to go down. So each like playthrough of the game, you can make characters feel different, and you can choose to use different characters in different ways. So it's a very replayable Fire Emblem game, and it's also pretty palatable because it's a shorter experience. But yeah, I'm like kind of casually, like I'm doing like a chapter a night before bed kind of thing. My bedtime game was and kind of still is Picross on NSO. Doing like a Picross puzzle a night. The last couple nights I've been doing just like, I'm going to do a Fire Emblem Sacred Stones chapter a night, and that'll take me 15, 20 minutes, whatever. So over the course of the next month or so, I'll play through this game for the umpteenth time and have a little more refresher to share my thoughts on that one as well. Yeah, I mentioned Picross, still playing Picross just as a bedtime game. I'm coming up on the last chunk of puzzles for Mario's Picross on NSO. Just a really good game. If you like Picross, check it out. It's free. Not free. Well, if you have NSO, it's on the cheapest tier. So if you're curious about Picross, it's there for you to try. And then the only other game that I'm kind of still keeping up with, it's kind of got kicked to the side for all this other stuff, but Dark Deity 2, that indie Fire Emblem that came out last month, really enjoying it. I'm going to keep playing it. I'm going to finish it. But it's gotten to the point now with all these other games that came out, I'm playing like a chapter every... sorry, my cat's just knocking on the door there. I'm playing like a chapter every few days rather than like a chapter a night like I was. So still need to put more time to that, but I'll finish that up here in a few months. But yeah, that's all the games I played this month in April. It was a pretty good month, all things considered. I only played 2 new games, but I did play a lot of games over the course of the month. In May, though, there's not a whole lot of games I'm really wanting to get in May that I can think of at this very moment. The main one would be Elden Ring Night Reign, which comes out at the end of the month, and it's like a 3-player co-op like roguelite Fortnite version of Elden Ring. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see if I put time to that at the end of the month or not, but I'll check it out. It's FromSoft. It's Elden Ring. I'm going to enjoy it in some way, but... yeah, that's all I got for today. So thanks for watching. Let me know what games you've been playing this month. I would love to hear in the comments. And we'll see you next month.